Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
In his classic novel, Slaughterhouse-Five, Kurt Vonnegut repeatedly uses the phrase, "so it goes," after describing events of death or destruction. Here are some examples. So he was hoisted into the air and the floor of the car went down, dropped out from under him, and the top of the car squashed him. So it goes. The plane crashed on top of Sugarbush Mountain in Vermont. Everybody was killed but Billy. So it goes. The regimental chaplain's assistant had been killed in action. So it goes. The simple refrain, though brief, carries a profound weight. In the 2021 documentary Kurt Vonnegut Unstuck in Time, the author's biographer Jerome Klinkovitz explains the meaning behind the three-word maxim. Quote, "It's intoned 100 times in the novel. Vonnegut did it to make it iconic. Death is so common, so inevitable. We can't go to pieces every time there's a death or we ourselves will just be incapable of living. So you have to just sort of shrug your shoulders and say, so it goes." End quote. In the same documentary, Vonnegut's daughter Nanette says she believes "so it goes" was more than just a literary device. It was a mantra in her father's head that helped him cope with the difficulties he had been through. To me, "so it goes" is a perfect example of Stoic acceptance, not just in the face of death, but for all of life's uncontrollable hardships. At first, this sort of practice might sound like a resigned slump into passivity, an admission that you can't actively respond to your situation. But this is false. In fact, it's the opposite. Acceptance just gives you a much stronger base from which to approach what you're facing. To have the energy to transfigure negative events into something more positive by working on what is within your control, you first have to accept the reality that you can't change things that are outside your control. Without that initial acceptance, people often get stuck in denial, clinging to things they can't possibly alter. In Slaughterhouse-Five, the main character Billy Pilgrim struggles with this acceptance. When he's abducted by aliens, he asks, "Why me?" In the aliens' response, we can see why accepting our fate may be a more productive way to go about things. It isn't just ourselves who are subject to the workings of fate, after all. It's everyone. Quote, "That is a very earthling question to ask, Mr. Pilgrim. Why you? Why us, for that matter? Why anything? Because this moment simply is. Have you ever seen bugs trapped in amber? Well, here we are, Mr. Pilgrim, trapped in the amber of this moment. There is no why." End quote. This is pure Stoicism, the idea that events unfold according to a cosmic order, and our job is not to resist that order, but to align ourselves with it. So it goes as a reminder that acceptance of fate is not the end of agency, but the beginning of wise action. When you stop obsessing over what can't be changed, you free yourself to focus on what can. This philosophy isn't unique to Vonnegut or Stoicism. It also features prominently in The Courage to Be Disliked, a best-selling self-help book by Ikiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Written as a fictional dialogue between a skeptical youth and a wise philosopher, the book draws heavily from the teachings of Alfred Adler, but its themes resonate deeply with Stoic ideas. One particularly powerful moment comes when the philosopher challenges the youth's belief that the past controls our lives. The youth asks whether people are shaped by their past traumas, to which the philosopher replies with an illustrative metaphor. Quote, "Suppose there is someone whose parents had divorced in his past. Isn't this something objective? The same as the well water that is always 18 degrees? But then, does that divorce feel cold or does it feel warm? So this is a now thing, a subjective thing. Regardless of what may have happened in the past, it is the meaning that is attributed to it that determines the way someone's present will be." End quote. It's not what happened that matters, but what does it mean now, and how was it resolved? This mirrors the Stoic belief that our perception of events matters far more than the events themselves. The philosopher continues, quote, "We can't go back to the past in a time machine. We can't turn back the hands of time. If you end up staying with the cause, you will be bound by the past and never able to find happiness." End quote. The youth protests, saying that's why life feels so hard, because we can't change the past. but the philosopher offers a subtle reframing. Quote, "Life isn't just hard. If the past determined everything and couldn't be changed, we who are living today would no longer be able to take effective steps forward in our lives. What would happen as a result? We would end up with a kind of nihilism and pessimism that loses hope in the world and gives up on life." End quote. This is where Stoic and Adlerian philosophies converge. Both reject the idea that we are helpless prisoners of our past or fate. While we have to accept what has happened or what we can't change, this acceptance is not the same as surrender. In fact, it's the foundation for personal freedom. The past may shape us, but it doesn't own us. The meaning we assign to past events is our choice. And just as countless people have gone on to build meaningful lives despite tragic origins, so too can anyone else. In this way, there's always hope. So when life throws something at you, death, hardship, failure, or random chaos, instead of clinging to "why me?" or trying to rewrite what's already done, try this. Shrug your shoulders, say "so it goes," and turn your attention to what comes next.